COVID-19 pandemic, nevertheless, has negatively impacted the aviation sector globally, and Africa is no exception. In fact, the pandemic continues to affect us all. I mean, one simple example is the recent case of this variant, the Omicron variant, and the confusion it has really brought everywhere, including in the air transport. I'm saying this because you've seen starting with first, South Africa was generous in sharing information of what they had just discovered of this variant. And all of a sudden, of course, there is a reaction toward that. Airlines started suspending flights to the Southern African part of our continent. Passengers originating from there, going toward different parts of the world, being blocked, and a lot of questions. Now, in the midst of that, first it was that the origin of it was Southern Africa or South Africa. Then as that is happening and people are taking action and so on, information also comes out and says, oh, by the way, this virus has been around in some other parts of the world, even before South Africa. Let us know that they had discovered this virus. Now, this requires better organization, better communication, concerted effort in doing what we are doing, but unfortunately, the speed at which things are happening as related to the effects of the pandemic is staggering. Now, let me give you, like in the case of Rwanda, when we learned of this variant, like any other country, like anywhere else, we had to take immediate action, at least had to figure out what to do in response to that, because that was already happening because of what other actions other people were taking. And our airline had to suspend flights to the Southern African region of our continent, even though the information everybody was operating on was that this variant was in Southern Africa, but we find it is somewhere else. In fact, I agree I saw the president of South Africa saying that South Africa, for example, was being punished for being transparent and putting information out there of what they had discovered. But others who had identified it had been quiet and they had discovered that before. In our case, Rwanda had to take measures internally here in the country, but naturally also to do with beyond our borders. And the simple reason was, for example, the flights that come from Southern Africa, most of the passengers who come to Kigali don't terminate their journey in Kigali, in Rwanda. The majority are going through to other destinations. So there was going to be an economic backlash if we just went to Southern Africa. First of all, we would be not bringing passengers because passengers normally come through here to other destinations, so they wouldn't be coming. We might be able to carry passengers to Southern Africa, originating from here, but on the way back, the flights would almost be empty every time. So it wouldn't make economic sense. In fact, we would probably make huge loss around that. So one of the measures we took was to say, well, let's wait and see what happens across the world. Let's stop on flying to Southern Africa.